on a test.
You have to be beneath 39%.
39% for an
the
F
curve,
grade.
the traditional curve in the old days.
Yeah, tell me, what would typically be an F?
After 60%.
Thank you. Next stat. 30 years ago, the United States awarded more high school diplomas than anyone in the world. You know where we're at now? We're not first. We're 36th.
And you want to see a parallel to that? We're down now to the 26th rated democracy in the world.
Yeah.
Canada, 100 miles from here, is number 6.
Yeah.
We're behind Canada. We're behind Mexico. We're the 20 of advanced nations, industrial nations. We're at the bottom of the list for democracy.
Yeah.
We're the stupidest, and we have now banana-like government that's getting worse.
Yeah. According to the Pentagon, 71% of our young adults are ineligible to serve in the U.S. military because they are either too dumb, too fat, or they have a criminal background.
Doesn't say they don't take them.
Yeah.
It just says 71 by their standards.
But they'll still take them. They've lowered the standards.
Yeah, I mean, if they're lowering the standards for a passing grade in the public schools in North Carolina.
Because they need that cannon fodder to protect the oil companies.
Yep.
Yeah.
You got it.
By the way, here's this one stunned me. Americans are more likely to die from an opioid overdose than they are in a car crash. First time ever.
Well, you know the story there. You know the couple,
the
married couple that knew damn well the consequences of it and then initiated a campaign of sending millions to doctors to make sure they used it and prescribed it. Mm-hmm. And the last I heard, they weren't even prosecuted. And now we are more likely to die from an opioid overdose than being in a car accident.
Yeah. I want to rattle these off real quick here. One study discovered that 1/3 of American teenagers haven't read a single book in the past year. 33%.
They don't read books.
45% of U.S. teenagers are online almost constantly. But it's not just the teenagers. The average American spends 86 hours a month using a smartphone. The average U.S.
They use that name appropriately.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it ironic? Sorry to Alanis Morissette. By the way, she's going back on tour, 25th anniversary of Jagged Little Pill. Let me just say, this is not a plug, but it kind of is. If you get the chance to see Alanis Morissette in concert, please go. I saw her when she was going around the first time. Fantastic singer.
Did you see her in Kalamazoo by any chance?
Yes, I did, at Wing Stadium.
Yep, I remember it.
Yep. Overall, the average U.S. adult logs 6 hours and 43 minutes of total screen time daily. Unbelievable. This one's hard to believe. I don't know if this is really true or not. In more than half of all U.S. states, the highest paid public employee in the state is a football coach.
I don't doubt that at all.
Wow. That's amazing. During one 7-day period last summer, a total of 16,000 official complaints about human feces were submitted to the city of San Francisco. Apparently, the problem is very real because one investigation found 300 piles of human feces on the streets of downtown San Francisco.
I
guess Carl Malden and Michael Douglas better watch where they're walking, right?
Right. But when they say...
Look it up on Wikipedia, the streets of San Francisco, folks.
You got it. The details, though, are important here, Darren. Notice what it says. This is 300 piles of human feces. Mm-hmm. We're not talking about one Tootsie Roll over here, another Tootsie Roll there. We're talking piles.
Yeah.
300 piles of feces in the Golden Gate City. I mean...
on the streets downtown.
This isn't a barnyard. This is the streets of San Francisco.
Yeah. Every 24 hours, more than a third of all Americans eat fast food. I being one of them. Less than half of all Americans know which country used atomic bombs at the end of World War II. By the way, that was us.
Yeah, we are the only country in the history of the world to use an atomic weapon in warfare.
Yep.
Drop an atomic bomb on anybody.
We were in Iraq for 8 years fighting a war. Do you know the 6 out of 10 young adults cannot find Iraq on a map of the Middle East? 75% can't locate Israel on that same map. And finally, the average college freshman in the U.S. reads at a 7th grade level, which is about 3 grades above Trump, my opinion.
Let's just talk a second before we move on, about how we would expect an intelligent voter to understand the grips of corporatism on our democracy and its influence on candidates so that they could appreciate a Bernie Sanders. Right, Darren? Mm-hmm. You can't find Iraq on a map. You don't know if pork is a meat or a sexual term. You don't know. You read at a 7th grade level going into college. Mm-hmm. Of course they're not going to be able to lay hold of the simplest but yet essential political understanding around us. And we have the end result sitting in the White House right now.
Yeah.
With 40% of the people still can't see what's wrong with the guy. Did he read this survey when he went out and said, I can go on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and it won't change my popularity with my followers? Because you can't fix stupid. I mean, really, a rutabaga or a lawnmower, it doesn't have any understanding.
Yeah.
It just keeps doing the same thing over and over again. And they hear a talking point from Fox that nobody says it like Trump. You know, he's strong enough to say it like it is. And he's so rich, he doesn't need this job. Hell, he's donating his income. Didn't you know that?
Yeah, because he's robbing us blind with all these trips to his golf courses.
Yeah, how many $1 million just for the rentals?
Several million just for golf cart rentals. It's amazing. Jack, I've got 2 real-world examples of some of the stupidity that I see on Facebook every day. These are friends of mine that are posting this stuff, people that I've known for a number of years. One, oh my God. She posted this on Saturday. I got to read you this. Tim Allen got one thing right when he said, we are one election away from open borders, socialism, gun confiscation, and full-term abortion nationally. We are fighting evil. Well, first off, Tim Allen didn't say that. Second off, abortion rates are dropping in this country. But she says that there's always going to be a division because there's always a difference of opinion. The problem is you're not entitled to your own facts. You're entitled to your own opinion, but not your own facts. So I decided to drop some facts on her. I just don't care. I don't care if I lose her as a friend. Sorry, Dacia. Here's my response to her. There's already socialism, corporate socialism, $100 billion worth of it every year. Yet the biggest complaints are about SNAP or food stamps, which are $68 billion yearly. However, for every dollar spent on SNAP, it generates $1.70 in economic activity. At current rates, overall economic activity for SNAP is over $115 billion yearly, which helps local communities. By the way, I did the math on that myself. Roads, police, fire, public schools, Social Security, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, Medicare, and Medicaid are socialist programs. Open borders? Really? The biggest problem in immigration is visa overstays. Yet the orange-skinned bag only wants to block brown people from coming into this country. But he's a racist, so that's not really a big surprise there, is it, folks? Continuing. Gun confiscation. Even Bernie Sanders said that mandatory gun buybacks would be unconstitutional. That's another fake talking point from conservatives to cause gun and ammunition sales to go up and make Remington richer. Full-term abortion, utter. Yes, utter bullshit. Abortions at 21 weeks or later only account for 1.3% of all abortions, which equals about 12,000 yearly. However, free access to contraception in Colorado has caused a drastic drop in abortions. I wish we were one election away from socialism. Instead, we've become a fascist oligarchy. The rich get richer, the middle class, what's left of it, blame the poor for the country's ills, and the poor are repeatedly screwed by the rich. The Senate Majority Leader lets legislation that's been passed in the House sit there without being voted on, while Orange Twitler robs this country blind and pulls the wool over the eyes of the 60 million morons who voted for this ignorant asshole by saying fake news. I hope the asteroid hits this country before the second Civil War that I predicted right here on this very show 8 years ago happens. People are fed up. France, Spain, Lebanon, Iraq, Argentina, Chile, Hong Kong, Ecuador, Colombia, Algeria, and now you can add Iran, and many other countries have had protests. They want to eat the rich, but you won't see news coverage of those protests in this country because the corporate media doesn't want to give the peons any ideas. There's one example. You want the next one, Jack?
Yeah.
Another friend of mine, different person, the following day shares an article or shares a post that her uncle supposedly wrote, Rick Gorson. Yeah. By the way, the policy on this show is you post stupid shit online, you're going to get exposed by name. I don't care. I do not care. I don't want to read it because it's awful long, but he basically said that he agrees with what Trump said about Muslims who want to live under Islamic Sharia law were told on Wednesday of last week, apparently, to get out of America. By the way, here's what he continues. He says, immigrants must adapt, take it or leave it. We speak English, not Japanese, Lebanese, Arabic, Chinese, Spanish, Russian, or any other language. I'm just kind of skipping around here. This is what pissed me off. Most Americans believe in God. I personally do. This is not some Christian right-wing political push. Yeah, you could have fooled me with that one.
Exactly.
But a fact, because Christian men and women on Christian principles founded this nation, and it's clearly documented. Really. Yeah. It is certainly appropriate to have the right to pray in public or in school or display in God we trust anywhere and everywhere we want. If God offends you, then I suggest you consider another part of the world as your new home because God is part of our culture.
No place else, though. There's no God anywhere else in the world.
We will accept your beliefs and will not question why. All we ask is that you accept ours and live in harmony and peaceful enjoyment with us. No, because the fundamentalist Christians have proved over and over again that's not what they want.
Listen, this is a quote from Chris Hitchens, this guy that's talking about living peacefully with all the Christians.
Mm-hmm.
Hitchens has more brain matter in the dandruff on his collar than the guy that you're referring to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a simple quote. I absolutely am convinced that religion is the main source of hatred in this world.
Yep.
There's no such thing as living in peace with religions.
I got just a little bit more, and then I want to get right into my response with this. He continues by saying, this is our country, our land, and our lifestyle, and we will allow you every opportunity to enjoy all this. But once you are done complaining and whining about our flag, our pledge, our Christian beliefs, or our way of life, I highly encourage you to take advantage of one other great American freedom, the right to leave. If you aren't happy here, then leave. We didn't force you to come here. You asked to be here. So accept the country that accepted you. So here's my response. More revisionist bullshit. This is a secular country. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. The founders of this country felt that the separation of church and state was so important that they placed it first in the First Amendment to the Constitution. Thomas Jefferson wrote of a wall separating church and state. Most of the founders came here to escape religious persecution in England. There's the truth. God doesn't offend me. The idea is that some of these so-called Christians like Rick Gorson spew that you must believe as I do or else offends me. As an atheist, I don't need a book to tell me how to live my life. By the way, it's a book of fiction written by men 2,000 years ago to control other men and all women, my opinion. A full quarter of this country, 25%, identify as atheist, agnostic, or non-believer. If atheism was a religion, it would be the fastest growing religion. Maybe ignorant assholes like this Rick prick ought to research other religions instead of spewing ignorant hate and horse shit. Good and bad people exist in all religions.